The absolutely mind-boggling ending we got for Sonic Prime Season 2, it left fans wanting more, as you know, it was a very, very, very big cliffhanger. So I decided to ask my audience if they could come up with a Sonic Prime Season 3 ideas and how they think the show's going to go. And I'm going to try and piece pretty much every single comment here to see if we can figure out what would be most likely for Sonic Prime Season 3. Let's get into it. Now, at Dylan Diodina, I'm sorry if I've said that terribly, said Season 3 could possibly focus a little bit more around the Grim. The last Prism Shard is there, and maybe the Chaos Council could discover it and try to shape it into their own image. We could also maybe get more context of what the Grim is and why it's so deserted, and considering the last episode of Season 2 with all Prism Shards, maybe Sonic can become either Super Sonic or a new form unique to Sonic Prime. Now this idea, right off the bat, genius. The Grim is going to be like the main focus, I believe, because it's like the one universe that hasn't been discovered and hasn't been like explored yet. It's been discovered, but you know what I mean, like everyone else, the Chaos Council, they haven't heard of this thing yet. They have no clue about it. So even though it is a big, empty, like deserted, barren wasteland with absolutely nothing there, I think they'd be able to make a season about it. And with the Sonic form, that also makes sense, because you know when Sonic uses all of the Prism Shards to turn into this big, super cool version of himself? Yeah, there's still one shard missing. He did that with only 4 of them when there's 5 of them around, so that means that there's gonna be a different form that's probably higher up than that, right? You see where I'm coming from here. He only used 4 and there's 5, so surely there's got to be an even bigger, even better version that we have yet to see. I got a Kerbanger 8995 says, it could start off with Shadow scolding Sonic for what he's done. They would have to go after the shards next. They'll travel to the Grim and collect the shards from 9. Would probably try to get into multiple fights with Sonic, but Sonic would refuse to fight him, probably talk things out, but 9 would still want to go through with his plans. And again, this makes sense. I think Season 3 will have a very big focus on 9. I think he's going to be the main focus. I think the Chaos Council will still be there and they'll still be trying to stop them, but I feel like the series is going to heavily focus on like 9 being some sort of big bad villain. Oh look, because he's stopping Sonic from doing what he wants to do. Talking things out, I can see that happening because, you know, it's Sonic. He's obviously going to talk it out when it's his friend. And maybe there'll be like one tiny little fight, you know, like the train fight where Sonic's constantly trying to run away and tell him what's going on, but 9 is insistent on fighting him. I imagine something close to that will end up happening. At Artistic Dawn 4925 says, here's hoping that Shadow is going to be in more episodes. Maybe find a loophole where he can travel alongside Sonic to pass through the gateways. Also, 9 is going to be a secondary antagonist, that's clear as day. However, I do think they'll come around or at least realise that he can't live in the Grim, as I don't think the prison will allow that for long. I don't know, but I feel like he'll get his own reality check soon enough. And I can see that happening too. The prison was originally in Green Hill, so I have some sort of feeling that even though there is something there and there's a blueprint and he could probably make it, I don't think that the Paradox prison would, you know, be completely fine if it happened in a completely different place from where it originally was. Now, just for myself, I hope that 9 comes around, because I don't want to see like 9, you know, something bad happen. I love 9 as a character. I can see where he's coming from in his decisions, even though they're the wrong decisions. I still love him as a character and I still think he's sick. Real XL Master says, what I think could happen in Season 3 is, number 1, all worlds could be in one huge fight, like similarly how it happened in Episode 7. Number 2, Shadow might travel to one of the portals and everyone starts to get confused. 3, since Season 3 is the last season, the prison will likely be rebuilt and Green Hill will be fixed. 4, well, since one of the shards could potentially shatter and create alternate versions of that world. If any of these pop up in the show, I am basically a wizard. And honestly, yes you would be. Now, idea 1 with all the worlds getting into a huge fight, I think it would be sick. We got something kind of close to that with, you know, variants kind of swapping over with each other. But I want to see one huge massive fight with pretty much every variant in one world at the exact same time. It would make for some great interactions. It would be so weird to see them all with each other. I just think it would be awesome. Shadow traveling, I hope it happens at some point, because even though he was in Season 2, Season 1, he was kind of there. Episode 1 of Season 2 was like the main focus of him. You didn't really see much, and he wasn't really that important to the plot in Season 2. Give Shadow a reason to be important in Sonic Prime, please. Thank you. At Queen Jenna 067 says, I think that Season 3 is going to involve a heavy matured Sonic after seeing that the shards were stolen by 9. Shadow will also heavily be involved in collecting the shards back. The other world's friends will possibly be played into showing the effects of rebuilding Green Hill, and as a result, shatter spaces with the others might be altered or even eradicated. Season 3 is going to be a heavy hitter. And I think it will be, not just because, you know, it's a continuation of what happened, because it actually is the last season. It is actually it after this. We are done. There is no more after this. So it's got to somehow wrap up all of the different plot and story points in one nice and neat little bow. and I don't know how they're going to do that. Lizzie Bunny 5436 says, I believe it will start off as a flashback, or maybe even to the end of Sonic and Nine's fight, but from Shadow's view. It will show a close-up of Sonic, and if people didn't notice this detail, zoom out when he places his hands over his eyes. Anyway, Sonic is extremely upset and downhearted after what happened between him and Nine. Shadow, his up the top, comes down, really boil up and scolds Sonic, but afterwards encourages him to not give up and that he is with him when they work together while thinking of a plan to get the shards back. I believe we'll be seeing the Grim a lot throughout Season 3, and the plot is probably how Sonic and Shadow will get there. Since Shadow probably can't and Sonic is tired out after all that blast from overworking, they'll probably hijack one of the Chaos Council's ship to get to the Grim together. Or if they cannot, then the pirate ship could have a possibility of showing up and delivering them there. Have a feeling we will be seeing another fight between Nine and Sonic, maybe not as physical but an emotional one, which will end in a positive way instead of the negative one in Ghost of a Chance. And then of course, to make Season 3 awesome, all the other Shadowverse variants of Amy, Tails, Rouge, Knuckles, Big and Froggy show up to help. Basically every other Shadowverse will meet each other in Season 3. I can see the idea of them hijacking the Egg Council, like the Chaos Council's ship, to actually get there. I can see that happening. I think that could actually work. A Nine and Sonic fight, I'm going to be honest with you, I think it's pretty much confirmed. It's got to happen, like, come on. Like I said in this comment, it'll probably be quite an emotional one. It'll probably be like quite sad. They'll probably be like, oh, I don't want these two to fight, but they're going to fight at some point. It would be so cool to see. At Maze Papier 3500, I'm so sorry, said, what could become a possibility is if Nine really uses the Prism Shards to his advantage, what with his intellect and big plans, he might be able to become stronger than the Chaos Council, and Sonic will have to team up with them in order to stop him. Of course, only if he actually becomes an antagonist. Also, a 9 power-up / a new form would be sick. And oh my god, yes it would. I think 9 using the shards for his own advantage is something that's going to happen. He's a very smart, he's like the smart version of Tails that was taken out. And I think he's going to use them to his advantage 100%. If he's making devices, if he's using it on himself, who knows? But I think it's going to be very impressive whatever he does with it. At TailsFan10 says, again, keeping extra expectations low. Now that 9 has betrayed Sonic and took the shards, Shadow's going to give Sonic an earful. Sonic will then have to fight the Chaos Council again across the different worlds, helping his truer friends. Of course, the Dread will still be trying to pursue the shards, and once Sonic gets to the Grim, he'll unfortunately have to fight with 9 for the shards. Probably the Chaos Council as well. When Sonic gets them back, he'll try to fix it himself with Shadow or 9 will change again and help them rebuild the shard completely. Saying goodbye to his first and only friend. Basically a bittersweet ending. Oh, and maybe they'll either bring back the Sonic form we had seen before, or they'll amp it up to where he transforms completely. And again, this idea, so cool, so sick. A Sonic and 9 fight, it's happening. They're going to fight each other. Some sort of Sonic form. It's going to be like, I'm very sure we're going to get a very big amped up Sonic form, as he wasn't using all of the little shards that were there, and there are more. So we're probably going to see a completely different version of Sonic in the ending. So pretty much our Season 3 hopes that we have all made together is that Sonic and 9 will probably fight each other. There's going to be an even bigger form of Sonic since, you know, Season 2's one. It's going to be even bigger and better than that. The possibility of maybe Shadow will travel to a different universe at least once. Not really known how it'll happen, but it will probably happen at some point, hopefully. All of the Shadowverse variants will all come together in one world for some sort of big fight at the end of the series, or like some midway through. And it will probably end with him rebuilding Green Hill, saying goodbye to all of the variant versions, and everything just going back to normal. That's most likely how it's going to end. But yes, thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you commented and your name wasn't shown up or I didn't read yours. Just wait till the end of the video because I'm going to scroll through all of the comments. So if you've commented, watch the end because your comment's going to scroll past at some point now. Anyways, goodbye.